and that the president understands that the protection of our national security represents his highest obligation. Accordingly, he has directed lawyers and national security staff to assess the declassification request consistent with established standards governing the handling of classified information. So like I said, it's just basically blah, 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 blah. All the proper channels have been gone through, so it's legal. Now, here's the part of the memorandum that we're going to start to discuss, the first page. To the HPSCI majority members from the HPSCI majority staff. Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act abuses at the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Purpose. This memorandum provides members an update on significant facts relating to the committee's ongoing investigation into the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation and their use of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act during the 2016 presidential election cycle. Our findings, which are detailed below, number one, raise concerns with the legality of certain DOJ and FBI interactions with the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, and two, represents a troubling breakdown of legal processes established to protect the American people from abuses related to the FISA process. Now, what that is stating right there, ladies and gentlemen, the first paragraph of this is that basically that's the outline of what this memorandum includes, is who and what is doing the illegal monitoring of not only presidential candidates, members of Congress, but also the American people, which Ms. Curry will be bringing up here shortly regarding several other entities who were basically targeted because of their party affiliations and because of who and what they stood up for or against. And that's very, very important for you folks to remember, ladies and gentlemen, because if you remember the Patriot Act under George Bush, everybody was concerned about that. Well, they can monitor me for no reason. There was a lot of concern through the Democrats. Well, if somebody doesn't like us, they can put us under DOJ monitoring. Well, guess what they're doing? They're using their own scapegoat. So, investigation update. On October 21st, 2016, DOJ and FBI sought and received an FISA probable cause not under Title 7, authorizing electronic surveillance on Carter Page from the FISC. Page is a U.S. citizen who served as a volunteer advisor to the Trump presidential campaign. Consistent with requirements under FISA, the application had to be certified by the Deputy Director of the FBI. Deputy Director or Deputy Director of the FBI. It then required the approval of the Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, or the state or Senate confirmed Assistant Attorney General for the National Security Division. So what that tells us, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly who this surveillance has to be authorized by. There's some pretty high up individuals, folks. Okay, these aren't just your Tom, Dick, and Harry sitting down there at the NSA going, you know what? I don't like Kara Curry's post. I'm going to put her under surveillance. No. They have to go through court documents, court-ordered findings, and court-ordered warrants to do this. Okay, this isn't just picking up the phone and tapping somebody. This is they have to provide evidence, etc., in order to get the provision for this monitoring. The FBI and DOJ obtained an initial FISA warrant.
I want to interject something about the FISA court right here. You say they have to provide evidence. However, here's the process that they go through. The FISA court opened in 1978. From 1978 to 2009, there have been some 33,000 33,942 warrants to be exact over that 33-year period. It literally has a rejection rate of 0.03%. There have been literally a total of 12 denials in 33 years. They are very rarely denied. If they are denied, they're generally modified and resubmitted. Because if you'll recall, when it first came out that the FISA warrant was granted against President Trump, when we were talking about Susan Rice and all the unmasking, his was rejected the first time, and then it was revised and resubmitted and granted. So I want you to understand, yes, they talk about evidence and whatnot, but it's not what you think.
Right, which is what I was saying earlier. That it's kind of like, oh, we don't like you, so we're going to monitor you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is what their fear was in the beginning, and guess what, folks? Here it is. And actually, this next paragraph plays perfectly into what you just said. The FBI and DOJ obtained one initial FISA warrant targeting Carter Page, and then 3 FISA renewals from the FIC, as required by Statute 50 U.S.C. 180D1. A FISA order on an American citizen must be renewed by the FISC every 90 days, and each renewal requires a separate finding of probable cause. So in other words, they can't just keep on renewing it because, well, I heard him say that blah, 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 and then the blah, 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 blah is the reason for each separate finding.
Something to note. There were 4 FISA warrants, right, that we're discussing for this memo. 3 of those were renewed during President Trump's presidency. 3.
No, during his campaigning.
No.
Hang on. Yeah, this during his campaigning.
No, hang on. Give me a second, and I'll tell you. Keep reading, and I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Because I've got the information. It was during his once he actually took his oath of office.
Right. Well, this is saying this is talking about the initial FISA warrant. Okay.
Okay.
And what this is saying that then Director James Comey signed 3 FISA applications in question on behalf of the FBI. And Deputy Director Andrew McCabe signed 1. Then DAG Sally Yates, and then Acting DAG Dana Valente, and DAG Rod Rosenstein, which everybody should remember the name Rosenstein from the Mueller investigations, because he's essentially the one that can turn around and say, oh, well, now we're not going to go forward with Mueller's investigation, or we are. Okay? So Rosenstein is a part of this memo. Each signed 1 more on behalf of the DOJ. Okay? So what that's saying is, right there, I'm counting a total from October 21st, 2016. So yes, you'd be correct, Kara. I am counting a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 applications against Carter Page on the behalf of the DOJ. Now, there's a reason.
I want to point out. FISA Intelligence Surveillance Court. Literally every single judge. They have a 7-year tenure. So generally speaking, and actually, they're already appointed to a district as far as federal court goes. These are, federal Supreme Court justices, and I'm sorry, not Supreme Court. I misspoke there. However, they're already appointed by whatever president it is that appoints them. Then the Chief Justice actually will appoint them to the FISA court as well.
Interestingly, weren't all of them appointed by Obama?
Yes, that's actually what I was getting ready to state.
With
the exception of Robert Kugler. He was actually originally appointed by George W. Bush, but he was appointed to the FISA court during the Obama administration.
That doesn't sound fishy at all.
No, not a bit. Please note the sarcasm in my voice.
Right, exactly.
Something else that's interesting to note, there was a declassified ruling by the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, which is what FISA stands for, that literally detailed almost 10 pages listing hundreds, that's 100, hundreds, multiple, of violations of the FBI's privacy protection minimization rule. Every single one is believed to have occurred while on former FBI Director James Comey's watch. Every single one.
Yep. And there also there was also, because of the information that was gathered, there were also drastic concerns and justified concerns of whenever they go in to do surveillance on you folks, they have access to everything, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking bank statements, employment, judgments, how many children you have. They know the last time you flushed your toilet. Because of that information, and because of the great deal many leaks that she was just talking about of the over 100 violations that were found under Comey alone, the Honorable Mr. Comey, the I do not lie in front of Congress about Hillary Clinton Comey.
Mr. perjured himself in a congressional hearing, Comey.
Yep, millions of people's bank account information was actually sold off to private investors, other banks, and other publication stations. Okay? If you think about it, that's why whenever, Citibank, whenever they came back and said, there was a huge hack and X amount of people's accounts were put in jeopardy, that's because they figured out, oh, crap, because of the surveillance, they're selling off these people's bank account information.
The FBI is engaging in similar disclosures of raw Section 702 information that has not been reported. And then they've got, it says in their concerns existed back in 2012 that deficient reports were being submitted by the FBI indicating it had a clean record for complying with spy data gathered on Americans without a warrant, except that was not the case.
Yep.
And essentially, that I mentioned that Section 702 that they were in violation of. Section 702 is actually a part of the Foreign Surveillance Act. It was last updated by Congress in 2008. And it actually allows another alphabet agency to trample on your freedoms, namely the NSA. And the NSA is allowed to share your information with the FBI with FBI spy data collected without a warrant, and it includes communications of Americans with quote-unquote foreign targets. And, of course, compliance problems began just months after that section